Hey there, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if it's your first time here. My name is Erin and you're watching Erin Sews. Today's video is the reveal and review of my birthday pants. I just nicknamed them that. They are McCall's 8408. These really awesome wide-legged paneled pants that I made around my birthday. So I'm calling them my birthday pants. If you are a longtime subscriber, I am so happy to have you back today. And if you are new, I hope you consider subscribing at the end of the video if you've enjoyed what you saw. And if you did enjoy it, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button to let YouTube know that you enjoyed the video. Let's get into the review and reveal. We are just going to cut to the chase. This is the pants. It's hard to show the whole thing. I do have video to insert. Just let you take a minute to bask in how amazing that embroidered denim is that I used for the bottom panel. I also incorporated it into the pockets and then the back pockets as well. And then for the pocket facing and the waistband facing, I used this really fun cotton. That just makes me really, really happy. And another little detail that makes me very happy is that I used variegated rainbow thread on my loopers. So it's just all very, very fun. They're fun pants, and that is what I wanted. As I mentioned, the pattern I used was McCall's 8408. This came out, I believe, in the fall, maybe early fall of 2023. And as soon as I saw them, for some reason, I was very drawn to them. I have never had pants like this or worn pants like this, but when I saw them, I knew I just really, really wanted to make them. So I picked it up, and then over time, an idea formed, a vision was, building in my head. And when I saw the embroidered denim at Joann's one time, I knew that's what I wanted to make them from, or I knew I wanted to incorporate it somehow, but I still wasn't sure. The idea kept building. Well, around the new year, I finally solidified the vision I wanted, and I ordered fabric. I will start by saying that how these pants turned out was not the vision I had in my mind. I do love them very, very much. It's just not quite how I envisioned, and that was mostly a limitation due to the fact that this beautiful embroidery was only on one border of the denim. So what I had envisioned was the embroidery going down along this seam on both sides, front and back. Now I could have made it work on just the front and then had the back be plain. I considered that, but I really wanted the visual that I did end up with on the bottom of it going all the way around. So I had to flex from my original plan, and I'm still very, very pleased with how they turned out. The suggested fabrics for this pattern are chino, cotton blends, denim or twill, the lining, cotton blends, and then interfacing, you're gonna need lightweight fusible. For your notions, you need a 7-inch zipper and then 1 3/4 inch button. I, as I said, chose to use denim, and then the hot pink, which was actually called Fruit Punch Pink, is a stretch chino twill. I cut a 20, I cut an 18 at the waist and then pretty rapidly graded out to a 20. The cool thing about these is the only place where it really fit is super important is your waist and then right over the top of the hips. You don't really need it to fit your whole seat snugly or anything. There's not a lot of shaping to there. There are 2 darts in the back that help shape it at the top, but once you get over the high hip area or the top of your hip, they flow down really nicely. I did have to do an 1.5 inch full seat adjustment because when I made my toile, they were really snug in the boot. It was wedgy without me even bending over. Big ol' wedgie. So I did an 1.5 inch full seat adjustment, and that totally fixed it. I'm so pleased with that modification that I made. So those are the only 2 modifications to the pattern that I made. Was, not really a modification, having an 18 at the waist and then grading out to the 20 pretty rapidly after to get over my hips without it being too tight, and then that 1.5 inch full seat adjustment. So for a size 20, The fabric requirements were for 60-inch fabric, which is what I had, 1 3/4 yards. For the top part, so how they have it broken up is this part, and then this first contrast 1 for 60-inch fabric was 1 1/4 inch, and then for the bottom it was 1 1/8 inch, no matter what size you were making. Let's talk about the fabrics I used in a little more detail. For the top panel, as well as the waistband, the pockets and the back pockets, the carriers, all of that up top, and then the bottom panels, I used this denim from Joann's. It is a dark wash multicolor border floral embroidery. It's 54 inches across. I will say it's very lightweight. It almost feels more like a chambray to me. Yeah, it's really not very thick or heavy duty at all, which made it easy to work with, but concerns me a little bit for the longevity of these pants. So we'll just have to wait over time to see how that works out. Also, it did mean that even with the interfacing, the waistband doesn't have a whole lot of structure to it, which I noticed most when I am like bending down or moving a lot. It really doesn't really roll precisely, but it scrunches up really, really easily and doesn't sit super solidly like a normal pair of jeans would, or even a pair of trousers or something like that. That's just of a heavier weight material or more structured fabric. It was $18.74 a yard at the time that I bought it. Apparel fabrics are almost always 25% off at Joann's, which is a bummer because that means you can't use a coupon to get a percentage off of a full priced item. That's kind of, I think, why they do it. But it was $18.74 a yard. I think I mentioned this already, but the embroidery is only on one border. It is not on both selvages. So just know that if you're going to buy it, the embroidery takes up 1/3 or so of the width, and then the rest is just the dark wash denim. I used 2 yards for it, which is, if you combine the fabric requirements for the top panel and then the bottom contrast panels, that is what it calls for, is 2 yards. So that actually was pretty accurate. I did not use it for the pocket facing or waistband facing, like I said, but if you were not using a border fabric or something like that, I definitely think I would have been able to get all of the pieces out of just the denim. And I just wanted something fun. Actually, I think I might have been able to get at least the pocket facings, maybe also the waistband facings, out of some of the like weird in-between bits, but I wanted to use this really fun rainbow fabric. So I would say that 2 yards for the top and the bottom are very accurate with those two combined together. Then for this middle panel, I have this stretch chino twill. It's 52 inches across. I got it at Fashion Fabrics Club. I think it was about $7 a yard when I purchased it. I purchased 1.5 yards. I got 1.5 yards of that and then 1.5 yards of an orange dreamsicle color because, like I said, my vision originally was different. I was gonna have the embroidery along here and then do like the orange and pink or the pink and orange, something like that. Since that didn't work out, but I really wanted to showcase all the embroidery at the bottom, I decided to just use the pink in the middle and save the orange for another project. This middle panel called for 1.25 yards. Like I said, I ordered 1.5 yards and I have about 20 inches left all the way across there. I would say the 1.25 yards is pretty accurate. I used the called for 7-inch zipper. I used a jean zipper specifically, and then this button is 7/8 inches, so a little bigger, but I just made the buttonhole bigger to compensate, which we'll talk about in a minute. There's the zipper. In terms of the pattern instructions themselves and the pattern pieces, everything went together really, really well, and I think the instructions were very good. I've done one zip fly before, and it was about 1 year ago. When I made that, it was another McCall's pattern, and it was my first time doing it, so I looked up a video that walked me through it. This time I didn't have to reference a video or anything. The instructions were clear enough that I was able to just use those to assemble the zip fly, and I'm really happy with how the zip fly turned out. The whole waistband, not so much. We'll talk about that. But yeah, that all went in super, super nicely. I'm really, really happy with it. The pattern pieces were awkward and large, as you would imagine for these panels. So just know that. Be willing to play some pattern piece Tetris and stuff like that as needed to just maximize your fabric. Everything is cut on the grain this way, which makes sense for pants. What that means though is that all of these seams are sewn on the bias. With this chino being a stretch fabric and then the denim not being a stretch fabric, that was a little wonky at times. Nothing crazy considering how stretchy this is and how not stretchy this is. It really didn't pose too big of an issue. I did use a walking foot. I have a FOF. It has a built-in walking foot. So I used that and it really wasn't an issue. I was able to line everything up pretty well actually. Here. This is the only one that I was really off, I think, as you can see there. But yeah, pretty much all of them lined up really well. And then I was able to line up also, there's like this horizontal bordery thing that I was able to line up. Thought about trying to pattern match here, but I did not have that much fabric to play with. So I just kind of went with it, and it's busy enough that it all blends in together, especially with those flowers being the border on both sides. I think that helps make it look neat and intentional because it was intentional. Okay, now let's talk about the one area that I'm not so pleased with, and that is the waistband. I definitely regret some things here. I regret using the super fun fabric because you can see all of my top stitching and understitching and stuff, which from a distance you don't notice, and it's the waistband, so who's looking? It makes me happy, but then I look closer and it makes me not happy. You can see where the carriers are stitched in at the top, all of that, and I really don't like that. If I had used a fabric that matched, it wouldn't have been noticeable. So I do kind of wish for that I had just used the denim. I love that I used it for the pocket facing. That is so much fun. Zero regrets there. I do kind of regret that choice for up here. And then the other issue is I started this buttonhole too far over. It is like barely hanging on there. I did that because I wasn't thinking this all the way through, and because I didn't check that my waistband lined up before I hand sewed the facing down and top stitched and everything. It wasn't until I got to the very end and was about to put in the button in the buttonhole that I actually looked really closely, because the tops lined up at least pretty well. So I was like, oh, okay, it'll all be fine. Didn't pay attention to this bit and how that is just a bit off. So in order to try and kind of compensate, I figured I could move the buttonhole over and it would pull it a little bit. Well, it was not pulling it the direction I, for some reason, thought it would go. What's happening is, as you would think, the button just gets pulled all the way to this side, the left side of the buttonhole. So what I'm going to try and do is just kind of hand stitch that end of the buttonhole back together a little bit and see if that will help it be more straight up and down. Because really when I'm wearing them, you don't notice that these don't line up. And it's not, in real life, I feel like it looks so much worse than on camera. In real life, I feel like they're miles apart. I feel like they don't match up at all. I don't think that's the case now that I've looked at them and now that I've worn them more. So like I said, I'm gonna try and kind of just close that end of the buttonhole up a little bit more. And that's really the only thing that's bothering me. Other thing that I can't change at this point is the structure of the waistband. I should have used a heavier weight interfacing because my fabric was so light. I went ahead and just used lightweight since that's what the pattern called for. But in hindsight, I wish this had just a little more structure. Just that does it for my review and reveal of McCall's 8408, aka my birthday pants. Let me know what you think of them down in the comments. I know they're probably not for everyone, but I think they are so fun and they make me so happy, and that is what matters. Plus, thank you so much for watching this video today. If you liked it, please go ahead and hit that like button. And if you're not already subscribed, consider subscribing if you would like to see more videos from me in the future. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on Friday for Friday Sews. Bye.